Hello and welcome to this James the Bike Guy, where today we've got in front of us the 4th generation of the Trek Roscoe. Now the Trek Roscoe is Trek's do-it-all playful hardtail, and this new 4th generation for 2026 takes that into the future. So we're going to go into the features and designs of this bike. We'll check out what has changed and what's been updated, as well as we'll find out exactly what it weighs. Starting off with the Trek Roscoe. Now the Trek Roscoe, as I said in the intro, is Trek's do-all playful hardtail. So unlike a lot of hardtails that are out there that are either just beginner bikes or designed around short travel, XC style riding, the Roscoe 8 that we have in front of us here is truly a trail bike and maybe, dare I say, an enduro bike. It's a bike that's really designed around being super playful, having the capability to do some trails, some features, and just pretty much anything you want to point it towards. It's going to be a great bike to ride over. And for the 4th generation, I think they've taken a lot of cues from some of the adventure bikes that are out there, some of the things that we've all been wanting to really make a more fun hardtail. Now, this bike for Gen 4 comes in 2 flavors, either the Roscoe 8 in front of us or the Roscoe 7, which is the less expensive flavor of this bike. But both of them are going to be rocking this brand new Alpha aluminum frame. So this frame has shaped and butted tubing. It's got a 0 stack headset, and up front, a 150 millimeter suspension fork, which is new again for this year. In fact, they bumped up the suspension travel by 10 millimeters and now making this a really capable front end to the bike. Of course, rocking a 65-degree head tube angle, which we had before. And then as we go through, this Alpha platinum aluminum frame comes down to the back where we've got a nice tight chainstay on this bike. We're rocking the new UDH derailleur hanger, which is always nice to see. I don't think anyone's really going to be putting out a brand new frame without that. A threaded bottom bracket in the center, and then the tire size that's coming on this bike is 29-inch tires. And that is in every size except for the small. So this bike does come in 5 sizes, from a small to an extra large. And in the extra large of this bike, of course, that's going to be our 29-inch wheel all the way down to the medium, whereas the small has that 27.5. And from a frame design, some of what they updated to make it a little more adventure ready has been things like this bolt-on bag that's coming in the front triangle of the bike. And this actually comes stock with the bike. So you can see inside we've got these threaded knobs. That's how you take it on and off. You're going to have 2 of them up top, 2 down below. Now this gives you a spot to be able to put your gear, put your flat pack, put whatever you want to have in the bike. Of course, internal cable routing that goes all the way through. You do still get a triplicate mount for bottle cages down on the down tube, and you have space even behind the bag for, say, things like a pump, or maybe that's where you want your multi-tool. Whatever sort of mounts could go in there as well. Now, the frame does have some cool features, especially with the seat tube, which you can see has sort of a almost opened up oval shape from this hydroform tube, and that allows, even down on a size medium, you're able to run this bike with a 200 millimeter dropper post. So that's right, this rear seat, of course, is on a dropper post. You've got the lever on the handlebar to be able to raise and lower that seat, which features the Bontrager Verse saddle up top. But with that thumb button, you're going to get some good control over the height of the saddle to be able to really tackle some climbs. Now, when I'm speaking about climbs, they have steepened the seat tube angle on this bike compared to the Gen 3 version. So if we take a look at it here, you can see that angle for the seat tube. Well, that's quite a bit steeper than the version before. So this is going to have a 74.1 degree seat tube angle, whereas in the prior generation it was 73.1. So that additional 1 degree of steepness is going to help with climbing, but it's also interesting because that will push out the front end a little bit further, because this is going to match the same reach as the prior generation of the bike at a 455 millimeter reach on a size medium large or 18.5 inch frame. but the stack height has gotten even taller, most likely due to that longer 150 millimeter fork, where we're now going to have a 648 millimeter stack up front versus the prior generation, which had a 639 millimeter stack. Along with the taller front end, the other thing that you're going to notice on this rig is that the bikes are all coming with a 40 millimeter high riser bar. So this bar has quite a bit of rise to it. It is an aluminum Bontrager bar and a 31.8 millimeter clamp size, which is kind of interesting because the whole theme of a lot of these bikes was going towards 35 millimeter bar clamps, but everything is starting to come back to that 31.8 for a little more compliance in the way that it feels. Now, mounted up on the handlebar is going to be a set of Trek grips that are a bolt-on style, so you get to clamp down, and then we're going to have the shifting mechanism for our Shimano Deore 12-speed shifter, and that means thumb button to go to an easier gear, and then a thumb or an index finger both can operate to a harder gear. Now, to slow down the bike is going to be a set of Shimano 4-piston brakes, which are clamping down on 6-bolt rotors on the front and the rear. Speaking in the rear, well, this has Bontrager's Rapid Drive 108-tooth engagement rear hub, which, as if you've listened to any of my videos before, is a hub that I think is just absolutely awesome, especially for the price point that we often find these Bontrager line wheels on. But a line TLR 30 has a 30 millimeter internal width, which is going to help support this 29 by 2.5 inch tire, and that 108 tooth of engagement hub is both going to make for a really fast engaging and nice performing wheel set, as well as a really great sound as you go down the trail. And helping you down that trail, well, that's the Shimano Deore 1 by 12 speed drivetrain. So this is a 10 to 51 tooth rear cassette that's housed on the bike, and that's driving through a Shimano crankset with a 30 tooth narrow wide chainring system happening up front. So now that we've taken a look at the features and designs of this bike, it's time that we find out what this bike comes in and weighs. And the actual weight of the Trek Roscoe 8 in a size large is going to come in and weigh 31.34 pounds, including the bag and pedals. Thanks for joining me to check out the 2025 Trek Roscoe 8. This is the 4th generation Trek Roscoe bike, and it sure is a pretty fun looking do-all bike. Go ahead and let me know your thoughts on this bike, what you think about it now coming with a Fox 36 up front, having that extra 10 mils to 150 millimeters of travel, and a 1x drivetrain, all happening on this Alpha Platinum aluminum frame.